All right, welcome to another episode of Genius or Insanity. It's been insane this week for the market, so we know one thing we'll be talking about. So, Maz, how are you doing? Like weathering the storm? Are you feeling all right?
Dude, I haven't been sleeping. It's been entertaining. Yeah, I feel well prepared, thankfully. But it's been absolutely insane. It's probably one of the craziest things I've experienced in the crypto world the last week or so. What about you, Salil? How have you been feeling, man?
Not good, man. But for our audience, if everyone's wondering how do you know if Maz hasn't been sleeping, he starts dressing up. He says he feels cold when he doesn't
I'm
sleep. So
cold, man. I'm
so you
cold.
can see he's wearing
Yeah.
a jacket. So now that's our gift that Maz does. When Maz is not sleeping, he's cold. So yeah, Maz hasn't been sleeping much.
Yeah, I have not. It's been too crazy.
Yeah.
Darren, what about yourself, man? How have you been weathering the storm?
Well, maybe I'll kick it off with just a brief discussion on what's happening with Luna because I spend a lot of time in the crypto markets, and some folks have probably been watching UST depeg and Luna unraveling,
Yeah.
and so maybe I'll just say a brief word on those because it's sort of parallels to the NFT market with staking, especially with Moonbirds now having the nesting and the thought of locking up NFTs for longer. Similar concept in staking crypto, being able to do that for a longer period of time is good. So what happened is basically as UST gets dumped, it depegs. And because there's a mechanism to convert from UST to Luna at a rate of 1 UST for $1 worth of Luna, there's an arbitrage opportunity there. So, for example, if UST is trading at 90 cents, you can buy $90 worth of UST, and you'll be able to trade that 100 UST you get from the $90 for $100 worth of Luna. So you go from having a starting balance of $90 to an ending balance of $100 of Luna just by that conversion. So then, if you want to pocket that profit of $100, you have to sell that Luna. So that puts all that pressure on Luna. So if it's a small depeg, eventually buyers come into Luna and start buying back Luna before it dumps too much. But when you have a large depeg, you keep getting this cycle of people wanting to make this huge spread of 60 cents on the dollar in UST and then trade that for Luna and then start dumping Luna. So, once it gets too far, it's kind of out of control. And that's always been one of the risks of these algorithmic stable coins. The takeaway maybe here is we got to be thoughtful about lockups and how long you're staking things for. And if you can immediately unstake and dump, you're going to have the same effect as if there were no staking.
Okay, so let's take a step back. So what Luna was $100 a week ago, roughly. And then slowly the USD started depegging. The Luna price started tanking. And a day or so ago, what's Luna trading at, Maz? Do you know?
Right now? What's it at now?
Yeah.
Last I checked, it was like 2 cents or so.
Oh wow, so it's done. So it's
Yeah.
game over.
It's bad, man. It's really bad. People were shorting it along the way, and I know people that were trying to catch the knife, like they were just trying to maybe
Yeah.
find the bottom, and they got wrecked too. It's been bloody for a lot of people, unfortunately.
Yeah.
So let's shift over to the NFT market and say, I think a lot of the fear just, boils over, spills over. You might have people who lost a few $1,000s on Luna or Terra, and they want to, now make that up by selling their NFTs. What have you seen, Maz and kind of like, the floor prices and what's going on in the market?
Yeah, so it's been wild the last week or so with the whole Luna thing. And there's also a couple controversies in the NFT space as well, which we'll get into right now. But I've noticed when there's fear in the overall crypto market, people tend to want to liquidate, certain NFTs because some of them are holding better than others. But you do see these portfolios that tend to just, sell everything at a discount and try to get out immediately. And NFTs are so illiquid that you will find opportunities to buy, at certain price ranges that are way below floor when things like this happen. So I've seen a couple situations where that was the case, and it's unfortunate because it does affect everybody, and people probably want to be liquid or I don't know what they're going through, but it does affect the overall NFT market absolutely. So Leo, have you seen anything like that as well?
No, man, crazy times, right? And this is
Yeah.
interesting because typically, when the ETH price, historically, when the ETH price has come down, the NFT floors have kept up or gone up, right? Because
Yeah.
overall, in dollar cost average, NFT dollar price, NFT became cheaper, right? And this is one of the few times when, like, one, the whole crypto market is trending with the whole macro environment. So everything is highly correlated. And ETH is coming down, Bitcoin is coming down, the crypto markets are coming down, and along with it, the NFT floors are coming down. So overall, the market has been pretty crappy all of this week. But one project in particular, right, Azuki, they've had
Yes.
a particularly bad week. So you wanna give a bit more detail on that, Mas?
Yeah, so Azuki, first of all, they were before this whole thing happened, Azuki was considered a quote unquote blue chip, which is still a very,
Yeah,
broad term in the NFT space. They had a very high floor price. They had the top collectors buying these pieces. They're, the top, pieces in the collection going for over 100 ETH. Very well established project, but if we think about it, it only launched in January. So what happened is one of the founders was anonymous, and he came out this week saying, he actually founded a couple other projects, which they were, controversial to say the least. A lot of people lost money in those projects, and they just have a bad reputation. So what happened was that affected Azuki, and it created a price dump. Right, people started dumping their Azukis, and they started, they were upset because this guy, essentially cash grabbed three other projects, and that's the
yeah,
foundation that Azuki was built on. So it was built on this house of cards, and we saw the collapse this weekend. And it was sad again because we saw a lot of people that bought literally a week ago. You were buying it for up to 30 ETH, and people were
yeah.
selling it for 7 ETH. I saw some go for 6 ETH. And it was really sad
Wow.
because people lost a lot of money. And it just comes down to the bigger conversation of the founders and these projects, and being anonymous. And yeah, it was a terrible situation, and we are seeing a bounce back in Azuki a little bit. But yeah, it was unfortunate to see, to say the least. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think most people are on one side of the issue. They feel, the other projects that fail, they're putting it as a rug pull. That Zagabond, the anonymous founder, he had three other projects, like Mas just said, right? And they were what derivative projects, right? Funks was one of
Yeah.
them, which was a cyberpunk derivative. Then there was Zunks, and then there was Tendies.
Yeah.
Derivative projects, and at some point after minting, and yeah, they just abandoned them, right? And I think that's where people felt emotionally not right about this, or morally not right about this. Uh, Darian, what do you think? Let's say a founder starts a project. There are no promises made in the beginning, right? Everyone, it's still very speculative. You mint at a mint price. There's a roadmap, but if things are not working out, and the founder, let's say, moves on, how would you think about this, right? Where would you stand on this whole moral debate around it, that it's a rug pull versus it's business as usual? It happens in Web3 all the time.
Yeah, so I wouldn't necessarily call moving on from a project if it doesn't work out a rug pull. And I know that's a lot of the debate right now. Generally, I would consider rug pull when you're actually taking money out or dumping, treasury holdings or something of a project. And it seems that's not exactly what happened here. However, I would say that this founder is not made right by his original project supporters. If you do a project and you decide to basically walk away from it, you have to find a way to make things right with those folks who supported you in your next project. So whether that's an airdrop, a free mint, whatever it may be, you got to bring them along with you. That's what Web3 is about, is rewarding those early supporters. So even if you think this is not a rug pull, it was still not handled appropriately, and I would still be frustrated by it.
Yeah.
So those are my thoughts. I think everyone hopefully learns from that and says, we get it, things don't work out, but that doesn't mean it's just all okay. You can put the sort of the risk on someone else, the damage on someone else, and make out ahead. You have to share that burden with them and try and work hard to gain back that trust, and bring them along for the upside that they invested in you in the first place for.
Yeah. Max, why did he come and share this information? Was it supposed to come out already? Like, it almost seems like it's not good news. You can't yeah, if you've hidden it for so long, why would you volunteer this information?
Yeah, and people were kind of upset at the timing of it because
Yeah.
it was one of the days where there was like peak fear in the market, and then he dropped that news, so people definitely reacted to it. But I believe there was I wouldn't say blackmail, but someone else was going to release
Yeah.
that information, so they jumped ahead of it to try to just kind of do a little damage control. It seems like because he posted a blog about it, and the way he worded it was very persuasive, right? And it shifted the narrative to what he did was for the bigger purpose, and it made Azuki what it exactly. He was learning through all that, but there's just so much dirt that's being dug up, and there's controversy, what's right, what's wrong, and what's factual and what's not. So we're seeing a lot of stuff, being updated over time. However, the damage has been done, in my opinion. And it's such an early space, right? And it comes down to the question, let me ask you this, Leo. Do projects need to have doxed founders moving forward? Do you think that changes the meta moving forward from this point on?
Yeah, no, I think that's a good question. I've been thinking about this a bit. So I think the market will require founders to be doxed going forward, but I think there are two places where this thing can go two places, right? Right now, whenever an NFT is released, there is no utility as such. The utility always comes later, before an NFT is released. So people are buying into a vision, and there's this trust that needs to be there, that you trust whoever is releasing that NFT will fulfill the promise. In my mind, if this is the way NFTs will be released, where you don't have a utility and you need a roadmap and it's a future utility, then the founders will need to be doxed, because then you can put trust in a person, someone's reputation is on the line. On the flip side, I still think there's a world where founders can remain undoxed, can remain anonymous, but in that case, the utility needs to come first. In that case, you will need to be using the product, you have a use for that product, and you're getting value out of the product. And then to continue using the product, you may buy the NFT, you may trade the NFT, and you care less about the founder itself, right? So I think if there is trust in the founder, or if there's utility in the future, then in my opinion, the founder needs to be doxed. But if there's already utility, which is very few or non-existent right now, then the founder needs to be doxed. How do you think about it, Maz?
Yeah, I think when it comes down to, so here's what was being debated was, if we had known the Azuki founder had these projects before and we knew his background, would Azuki be as successful? Probably not. Maybe, who knows? But it would have definitely affected people buying it during the Dutch auction when it first launched at 1 ETH. So I do think that it is important moving forward, and I do think that for the market to thrive and evolve from this, Azuki has to pay the price. And if it doesn't, it may not. This space is crazy, and this thing may be at 30 ETH in a week. But I do think that for this market to thrive forward, the price needs to be paid with Azuki. And moving forward, projects like that shouldn't mint out. It's dangerous. But who knows?
Well, let's think about timing here. Obviously, some people are saying it's bad because it was at the height of fear, but it gets a little covered up by everything going down. And so let's move into our genius or insanity question. We're obviously, the market has been dropping. We got a little bit of a bounce here. Maybe it's a dead cat bounce. I don't know. What are you thinking, Maz? Is this genius or insanity if you're buying NFTs right now?
Insane, in my opinion. I think completely insane. Just looking at overall macroeconomics, and the stocks have been performing like shit. Crypto, it's been dumping, and it's such a speculative market we're in. And I just personally would rather wait a little bit and wait for everything to stabilize before I buy these projects and hold them, especially because it's so illiquid that we've seen when there's fear, people will undercut by 20, 30, 50% of the price to get out. I personally think it's insane to be buying now until we see a nice stability in the markets, in the overall markets. What do you think, Salil?
Same, man. I think overall, I'll completely echo that sentiment, right? It's insane. It's super hard to time the market, even in traditional finance, where you have a great visibility into cash flow and burn rate and the leadership team. So the whole wisdom around even traditional finances, don't try to time the market. And then this is even more speculative, right? This is crypto. Founders are not doxxed, they're anonymous. It's a promise of a future utility in lots and lots of cases. So I think it's insane. I don't think anyone should be trying to time the market. It can turn out to be, it can be not good. The outcome cannot be good. The one caveat, right? Again, I don't like doing this, but the one caveat, I would go back to the whole utility thing, right? Now, there are still some projects that have a utility, and a few examples would be, I don't know, like Floor NFT. It's an app which you can have it's basically your NFT wallet, for example, right? I haven't seen the floor price, but I'm guessing like everything else, the floor price should be lower, right? So if that's something you want for a utility. So if you're thinking of this as buying into a product, I think, yeah, everything is at discount for sure, right? If you think that's a good buy price. But if you're looking at as an investment and buy now, flip later, it's insane. So Floor NFT would be one example. I know there are also certain projects that enable you to get access to bots if you're a DJ or, different things. Maybe then it makes sense still because it might be at a discount right now. But think of it as not as an investment, but as an expense. And then, yeah, things are at a discount right now.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to go with insane as well. So this is the first time all three of us are in agreement here. So I don't know, audience, listeners, take that for what it's worth. Do your own research. But we all seem to be bearish, and I think maybe we don't want to catch a falling knife. But I would say maybe for my one sort of aside to this rule is that I think projects that are just minting, and the mint price is reasonable. That's a fair time to be buying in because you weren't ever really going to get it for a better price than that unless you think it's going to mint and dump. But I know some projects have already started adjusting their ideas on what their mint price should be based on the market. So I think there will be some opportunities there that have somewhat of a floor, if you will, and you're okay buying those. So
yeah.
I'm just curious to see what happens because we're all bearish here, but I wouldn't surprise me if we come back next week and the floors of everything tripled or doubled back up just because this market's so irrational. Yeah. So that's my only thing is I'm going to be watching closely and see what happens because, yeah, it's full of DJs, man, and we're crazy.
Let me ask you one more question, right? So we all said it's insane to try to, time the market right now and buy an NFT. Let's say someone gives you free 25 ETH with one caveat that you have to actually invest in one or more NFTs. How would you split that 25 ETH up, Darian? Like you have 25 ETH of free money. You'll only get it if you can buy NFTs out of it. So how would you put that 25 ETH? And I know it's a lot of money. It's completely hypothetical, just having some fun.
Yeah, so I would probably balance that over the projects where I can actually buy a few of them. So not where I can only get two. I wouldn't want to concentrate that much. So I'd be looking at things, that are in the single digit floor price range and try and, get, maybe 7 to 10 of those projects and diversify a little bit. And then you can just ride the market beta when we do recover.
Okay. Matt?
Personally, I think I'm buying Mutant Ape if that's the case, and just leaving it and not worrying about it. Because if those die, the whole market dies, and if they don't die, they're okay in price. I can usually sell it. There's more liquidity in apes than in anything, it seems like. Yeah. So just in case I need to get out or in, I would probably keep it there. What about you, Salil?
Moonbirds, my friend. 94% or so staked, really low demand. I think they're under 2022 ETH. I would put it in Moonbirds. Honestly, I just wanted to give that answer, so I asked that question.
I felt it. I've been surprised with Moonbirds. The fact that listings are still very low considering the bearish sentiment and the fear that's been happening. True. That's been absolutely amazing. So yeah, definitely keep our eyes on that one.
Yeah. All right, guys, that's all we had. Hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back next week. Until then, just take care and crazy times. Just be careful.
Go outside, get some nature, guys.
Yeah, stay safe, stay healthy, stay happy.
All right. Peace.
Take care. Bye.